Thank you for the warm introduction. So, it is a pleasure to stand in front of all of you, future entrepreneurs. I sincerely look forward one day hearing about the incredible ventures that you build. And I know all of you have the power and possibility and potential to transform the market. Let me tell you something. A few days ago, my daughter calls me at 12:30 at night, freaking out because some politician in some part of the world made a speech which did not align with her 20-year plan. She was spiraling, worried, and that this unforeseen event would throw everything off the track. What if in 5 years I don't achieve X, Y, Z? She asked, as if the universe has just personally conspired against her. Now, many parents would react maturely. Many people would act rationally. Me? I laughed for the first 30 seconds. Not exactly a parental wisdom she was hoping for. This, of course, annoyed her as much as it did when I interrupted her Valentine's Day plans back in college. But let's be honest, she was being naive now as she was then. Because here's the thing, we plan, we dream, we set goals, and then life throws something new at us. A market crashes, a law changes, a new technology disrupts everything that we had initially planned for. And what happens then? We have two choices. We can panic at midnight over the things we can't control, or we can face uncertainty with courage, stability, and yes, a little humor. Being a woman, that just adds a few bonus challenges onto your journey. Before we go forward, let me tell you a little about myself. I am Sangeeta, the founder, MD, and business head of DigiPro. Back in 2001, when I started DigiPro, it was just a dream. To make things interesting, we were stepping into an industry where words business leader usually came with a mustache and a deep voice. Office automation and tech solutions were, and still are, heavily male-dominated, which meant breaking in wasn't just about proving our skills. It was about proving that you belonged. But here's the thing about stubborn women. We don't back down easily. Over time, DigiPro carved out a niche in B2B services, focusing and helping businesses streamline their workflows and with the top-tier printing, copying, and data security solutions. And that's when the magic happened. Businesses didn't just buy from us, they stayed with us. Today, 95% of our customers return after their first purchase, not just because of our products, but because they trust us to have their bags. So the truth is, uncertainty isn't the enemy of success. It is its birthplace. I know you are a TikTok and Insta generation who loves summaries before you read the book. So here is what I hope you take away from my story. What got me started? The hunger. What kept me moving? The stubbornness and persistence. What made me successful? The purpose. So we'll start with the hunger. At 29, I had what I was supposed to want, a family, a stable teaching job, a life that ticked all the check boxes. And yet I couldn't shake the feeling that I was meant for more. I knew my teaching job was just wasn't my whole story. It was just the first chapter. And that had to be, the other chapter had to be written by me. But let me tell you, stepping into the business world wasn't exactly met with open arms, especially not for a woman. The sellers were men, the buyers were men, the decision makers were men. And me, I was an anomaly. I still remember my first day of training at Xerox. Picture this, a room full of 15 men, all seasoned sales professionals, cracking jokes about specs and machine models like it was their second language. And then there was me, the only woman in the room, a teacher stepping into the world of photocopier, tech, and corporate sales. Machines and technology were their domain. And the way they saw me, I had absolutely no business being there. That first day I sat back, quiet, absorbing everything like a sponge. Except instead of feeling empowered, I felt like an imposter. Am I in the wrong place? I wondered. And then during the session about selling techniques, the trainer asked a question. Nobody answered. There was a pause. And before I could stop myself, I blurted out some of my thoughts. For the first time in the room, everybody turned to listen to me. That was my moment. From that day forward, I decided that I belonged in that room. And I realized something even more powerful. I wasn't alone. A few of my peers saw my determination. They started rooting for me. They started tips, offered encouragement, even laughed when I made a mistake and told me to keep going. That network, the one that I built, in that tiny training room, became the support system which helped me move forward. I started from a one-room office in South Delhi's Bikaji Kama place, where having a desktop was a luxury and a cell phone was an extravagance. Every day I would visit clients who looked at me with mild amusement, as if I have wandered into a wrong profession. And after a long day of rejections, I'd head to the cyber cafe because that's where I draft my proposals, send emails, and do whatever it took to push forward. Many days, I got nothing. No leads, no calls, no business. But I kept showing up. I kept learning. And slowly things started to change. Because here is the truth. The hardest part of any journey is starting. And once you do, that's when the real story begins. What kept me going? The stubbornness and integrity. Starting out was tough. But here's the thing about challenges you learn. In the first few months at DigiPro, I learned how to deal with people. I learned that people sitting in boardrooms and behind those fancy titles weren't gods. They were humans with their own struggles and pain points. I learned how to speak to them, how to listen, and most importantly, how to build relationships at different levels of management. And then came the moment that changed everything. The first, most difficult client I ever won was the German embassy. Now, if you know anything about securing a deal with an embassy, you'll know it's almost impossible to even get to the door. Months went by, and every attempt I made to land an appointment with a senior diplomat ended in a polite but firm no. No introductions, no callbacks, no way in. But persistence, that was my superpower. So I kept trying. I followed up, I waited, and then one day a tiny crack in the wall appeared. The embassy had an emergency. A senior diplomat's printer had broken down, and they needed a quick repair. Now, was this $1 million deal that I was chasing? No. But was it an opportunity? Absolutely. Without wasting a minute, I grabbed my technical guy, packed up the tools, and walked through those embassy gates for the first time. We fixed the printer. Simple job, nothing groundbreaking. But as we were leaving, Mr. Mueller, the attaché at that time, gave me a word of thanks. That was it. No contracts, no guarantee, just thank you. And then, few weeks later, something remarkable happened. Mr. Mueller placed an order, a small one, just 28,000 rupees worth of equipment, but it didn't matter. It was foot in the door. If there's one thing the German embassy is known for, it's strict standards and skepticism. They don't trust easily, especially not Indian salespeople they've never worked with in the past. That tiny machine worth 28,000 rupees turned into a 22-year partnership. Over time, we supplied their equipment across every department. Even today, DigiPro continues to work with them. That win gave me momentum. So we are short on time. I'll cut off a few. I have lots to tell you. With time, small deals turn into larger ones. We grew from tiny sales team to an end-to-end sales and service organization. What kept me going was persistence and stubbornness. Because business and in life, the real wins don't come from luck. They come from showing up, doing the right thing, and proving again and again that you belong at the table. And that's exactly what we did. What made me successful? My purpose. As you start and move forward in your career, there will be moments of excitement, the thrill of a breakthrough. But there will be moments of doubts, moments where change feels less of an opportunity and more like a storm knocking you down. I do truly believe that change is the birthplace of innovation and success. But when the rain hits hard, you need to have something that grounds you, something that tells you which way is forward. The Japanese called it ikigai, your reason for being. For me, it's simple. People are my purpose. I wake every day excited to work with, support, and grow alongside an incredible colleagues and clients who make DigiPro's extended family. And if there was ever a time when that purpose was put to test, it was in 2020, when COVID hit. The world changed overnight. We had built our business around tech hardware, but suddenly nobody wanted to buy what we were selling for 20 years. I was told more than once that this is the end of the road, that it is the time to retire and enjoy life. Clearly, I did not listen. My clients were still in their offices. So instead of sitting back and waiting the market to get normal, I did the simplest thing imaginable. I reached out. At first, it was just messages of goodwill, a check-in here and casual conversation there. And during those calls, I noticed something. These businesses didn't need photocopiers or office machines at that moment. They needed office hygiene and safety equipment. That was my mentor's moment. At first, I hesitated. It was not our business. This was not what we do. It felt like starting over. But then I stopped thinking like a heartbroken Romeo and put on my superwoman cape instead. If my business was going to survive, we needed to adapt. So I adapted to my network. So I tapped to my network and I built relationships with years and found suppliers who could help us expand these product lines. The experience felt strangely familiar. When I started DigiPro all those years ago, people doubted whether I could succeed. And now here I was again, being told that I was chasing pennies. This was just a temporary fad and I was wasting my time. But here's the difference. This time I was not that scared young woman sitting in a training room, hoping to prove myself. This time I knew my vision had merit. I was confident. and I trusted my instincts. Within 2 weeks, I had found suppliers, created marketing material, developed a task force to focus exclusively on the new offering, and believe it or not, this division was the single biggest reason DigiPro bounced back so quickly in 2021. But why did it work? Because we stayed true to what made DigiPro special. It was never about selling a product. It was about solving a problem. We understood what was making life difficult for clients we had served for 15 years, and instead of focusing on what we had lost, we focused on what they needed. We took care of our people, we nurtured our relationships, and because of that, when things returned to normal, our clients trusted us more than ever before. And that was, my friends, is what success means to me. It's not about avoiding the storm. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. And how do you measure success? Let's take a step back. We started this talk with a story about uncertainty, about how life's challenges make you question everything. We spoke about persistence, how sometimes the only way to break a door is to keep knocking until someone finally lets you in. We talked about adaptability, about how doing the right thing even when no one is watching, and staying open to change can define not just your career, but your legacy. But if you remember just one thing from today, let it be this. Success is not about having a perfect plan. It's not about eliminating risk. It's not even about exactly knowing where you're going at every step. Success is about showing up, even when it's hard. It is about finding opportunities in the unexpected. It's about serving people first, because no matter what business you are in, business is all about people. And most importantly, to all the incredible young women here, remember, you belong to every room that you walk into. Never forget that. Now go out there and start before you feel ready. The world is waiting out for you. Thank you.